You have got to hear what Charlotte Flair just said about her feud with Tiffany Stratton. What happens when a wrestling storyline stops being entertainment and gets brutally personal in front of millions of people? Heading into WrestleMania 41, the feud between challenger Charlotte Flair and our WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton was the most heated rivalry in the company. The match itself was a classic, but the build to the match was absolutely brutal. You see, wrestlers trade insults and you assume it's just all part of the show. But this was different. This feud went off the strip with real-life insults about divorces and private DMs being thrown around on live television, making everyone backstage and at home incredibly uncomfortable. Because for the first time, Charlotte Flair is opening up about how super personal this rivalry really got and what she thinks about her opponent now that the dust has settled. The rivalry between these two leading into WrestleMania 41 was defined by intensity. And as you may or may not remember, there was an infamous promo exchange on SmackDown. The two WWE superstars went off script, trading deeply personal insults that shocked WWE fans. What am I talking about? Well, it was Stratton referencing Charlotte's real-life divorce from Andrade, while Flair retaliated by claiming that Stratton's real-life boyfriend, Ludwig Kaiser, had been sending her DMs. Now, it's time for Flair to open up. She did so with an interview on the Takedown, and she reflected on how heated the build to their match became. I think the match was everything that it needed to be. It definitely got super personal, extremely heated going into WrestleMania. Now look, despite the very real animosity that defined their feud, the Queen had nothing but professional respect for Stratton's performance on the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania. She praised not only Stratton's in-ring ability, but also the spectacle of the entire presentation by stating the personal story and how physical it was, the elaborate entrances. We both had our own unique entrance. I thought she showed up and showed out. I thought it was great. Now look, since their WrestleMania encounter, both superstars have moved on to new challenges. Case in point, WWE Evolution 2. It was Tiffany Stratton successfully defending her women's championship against WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. On the same show, WWE opted to have Charlotte Flair's dream team with Alexa Bliss implode when they fell short in capturing the women's tag team titles, and now we're waiting. We're waiting to see what ends up happening. Now, if you look at 2025 for Charlotte Flair, it has been an absolutely roller coaster type journey for her character, full of shifts and high profile moments. Let's take a step back. February. We finally get the Queen, Charlotte Flair, back on WWE television. She had been sidelined for the entirety of 2024, suffering a torn ACL, MCL, and a meniscus in December in a match on SmackDown. She had to go get surgery and just sidelined for the entire year. A major blow to Charlotte Flair, major blow to WWE, and its women's division on SmackDown. Fast forward, it is December 2024, and fans are eagerly awaiting to see what in the world WWE is going to do with this chip. Well, they opt to start airing hype pages, vignettes, Charlotte Flair coming to town. And it was revealed that she would make her grand return at the Royal Rumble, setting the stage for what would be a very interesting build to WrestleMania. So sure enough, Charlotte Flair, she shows up and shows out in only Charlotte Flair way to do so. She went out there, she competed the Women's Royal Rumble match, had a very good performance, I might add, and won the match. Earning herself a championship match of her choosing at the event. Would they run it back with Rhea Ripley as Women's World Champion, or would they go with Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton? They obviously went with Tiffany Stratton. Here's where things get interesting. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background because I feel like it's needed to tell the story. I think it's absolutely hilarious that WWE and Charlotte Flair thought that they could get away with a babyface run coming off of her injury with Tiffany Stratton who at the same time, in the weeks leading up to the Royal Rumble and coming out of it, really since she won the championship, I believe that December or early January, someone will throw me down in the comments, but when she cashed in Money in the Bank on a heel Nia Jax, it automatically turned her babyface. No one liked Nia Jax. She was a heel. Tiffany Stratton was getting over. She's likable, right? So she just went from a heel to a babyface while WWE was preparing for Charlotte Flair to come back as a babyface. Well, everyone wants to see Tiffany Stratton as champion. It's new, it's fresh, it's different, right? She's an up-and-coming star. Or you had the same old Charlotte Flair. And she was going to come back as a babyface, which is not ideal. Charlotte Flair is not a very good babyface. So WWE was like, oh crap. We gotta pivot here, y'all. We gotta change things. And so that's what they did. They obviously made her into a heel, Tiffany Stratton as the babyface. They went with it, right? And thankfully they did that. Like, they could have been hard-headed and said, oh no, Charlotte Flair's a babyface. He's a heel, right? Thankfully, everybody likes to crap on Triple H's booking, but like, under Vinnie Mac, we would have kept that. We would have kept that in terms of, all right, Tiffany is the babyface, or excuse me, is the heel and Charlotte is the babyface. Luckily, they didn't do that, and I'm very grateful for that. But that's what happened back in the day, right? Vince, he had his ways, he had his thoughts, and he went with his decisions, and he would stick with his decisions unless something absolutely forced him away from making those decisions. Triple H, not so much. So they pivoted. They made Charlotte the heel. She's there off of the deal. And then what's interesting is, and here's the background, here's context, here's what you need to know. Charlotte had talked about in the Players Tribute, which is an amazing article, I might add, that she really wants to have a full-blown white meat babyface type one. She really wants to have that. She feels like she can pull it off, and maybe she can, I don't know. And go with it, right? She wanted to inspire people, and she doesn't, and this was actually kind of surprising, but she was talking about how she did not like getting booed. She would rather be cheered. And it's like, girl, you've made an entire career off of being a great heel. She's one of the greatest heels, if you think about it. She's one of the greatest heels in the history of the wrestling business. Just her showing up gets heel heat, right? Most people would kill to get that type of reaction from the fan base, and she didn't want that. She doesn't like that. That's crazy to me. It's like, hey, make your money, win your titles, be consistently booked on top tier programs and feuds. She's not for that. So now we're in a situation where WWE has put her in a spot with Alexa Bliss, two baby faces, a tag team, and we're going to find out what she's made of. We're going to find out what Charlotte Flair can do as a babyface in a tag team with Alexa Bliss. I'm a little skeptical, I won't lie, but based off of the reactions in which they got at Evolution 2 in a match that was loaded, I was very surprised they did not pull the lever and put the belts on Charlotte and Alexa. But for now, they're keeping the titles on Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. We'll see if that changes. Because, I see WWE, and I'm grateful that they're doing something bigger with Alexa Bliss, but I can absolutely see WWE going in there and putting the belts on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. I just can't. Because they're two top-tier stars. And you're going to want your top-tier stars with the belts. When that happens, I don't know. But I think I could easily see, and hey, maybe by the time you hear this video, they book it. I can see SummerSlam being a possibility. I could see that being kind of circled on the calendar. Charlotte Flair was teaming up, challenging for the women's tag team titles against Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. SummerSlam night 1, night 2, you call it. I don't care. But I can see they put the titles on them there. We'll see. We shall see. Let me know in the comments there below. I'll see y'all in the next video.